Morning. I don't know if you are driving. I don't know if you are just waking up and getting your day started, but happy Monday. Obviously, tomorrow is a big day, so I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow, but we need to talk about something very, very important because it seems that every single person is getting this wrong. Now, you probably clicked on this because you are either struggling with negative items and maybe you don't need to get a mortgage, but maybe you want to know if it's possible, or you really think that there is a good idea about going out and trying to get a mortgage while having bad credit. And unfortunately, my answer about that, you're probably not going to like it. Now, here's the deal. If you clicked on this because you thought it was a good idea to go out and get a mortgage while having bad credit, my personal and professional answer to this is don't even bother. Don't try. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be paying 7% versus 3%. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to give you a couple of steps that you are going to need to do to first fix everything before going out and getting that mortgage, right? And this is the thing that you should be thinking about and planning about, because every single person out there that is trying to fill your head with lies about, oh, this process is simple, is literally just trying to go and dig into your wallet. And you work hard for that money. It's funny, right? I was thinking about this the other night. It's really, really funny that we work our butts off, but we're the first people to just go out for that shiny new object and give our money away that we work so hard for, right? The working class, okay? So, and you know what, there's nothing wrong with the working class. There's nothing wrong with us. But what is wrong with this situation is that we're willing to pay 7% interest versus just 3%, okay? So I'm going to give you a couple of steps that you need to first do before you go out and even think about getting that mortgage, okay? And if you want to think that I'm the bad guy here, then so be it, whatever. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Mine prove that my process actually works. So if you just take a little bit of time and invest into yourself, then you'll be able to get to being this person right here that's waving, hey, I got my new house, okay? So you are in my office in my house, okay? My office is downstairs. This is where I meet my clients, and we weren't given this house, right? It took us time to actually get it. If you go way back, I'm talking about back. If you go back to 2015 or 2016 or 2017 or 2018 in my videos, or even 2019, 2020, we're talking about apartments, all right? If you go back to 2017 and 2018, we're talking about tiny little office, a 1960s heater behind me in my videos right next to my crib, where I'm literally recording my videos or going live, and I'm worried about the heater turning on and blowing up behind me. Why am I sharing this with you? I'm sharing this with you because if it were like that, if there were an overnight process, if there were a very, very simple way to either go out and get money or go out and fix your credit quickly, then my videos would have been different, okay? I'd be filming in a mansion. I would be, whatever, driving 90 cars instead of 5, okay? So I'm not trying to dissuade you from anything. I'm just giving you the real about everything, okay? Because, again, all these people want to do is just tell you that there's a law, and because some law exists, that you can go out and remove your negative items, and you know what? They're probably making their videos in mom and dad's house, okay? So, I don't know about that. All right, so what do you first need to do? Well, step number 1 needs to be making an action plan. So my step number 1 of removing your personal information isn't even step number 1, okay? That's actually step number 2. Step number 1 needs to be making an action plan. I am going to do this, then this, then this, then this, then this. If you don't have an action plan, don't even bother. I make a plan for everything. When I created this, and no, I'm not trying to sell you this right now, I'm just using this as an example. When I created the, what the heck is the name of this? How to write this, the perfect dispute letter every single time. time, I created a plan for this. Before I hit that live button on this, I created a plan for this. Obviously, because we're live, I go off on tangents and whatnot, right? But before we got this house, we made a plan. Before we moved to New York, we made a plan. Before we moved to Vegas, we made a plan. Before we, got cars, we made plans. Before we got more cars, we made plans. Before I fixed my husband's credit, we made a plan. Before I fixed my own, I made a plan. And then I failed and I failed and I failed and I failed and I failed, and then I succeeded. Before I created my credit repair business, I made a plan and then failed and failed and failed and failed and then succeeded, okay? So if you don't have an action plan, you are going to do nothing other than fail. You will not see success, and I don't want that for you. So what do you need to do? You need to first determine what type of house that you want to have, right? Do you want a single family home? Do you want a multifamily home? Do you want a trailer? Do you want, $1 million, whatever? Do you want to live in Vegas? Do you want to live in Manhattan? Do you want to live in California on the beach in Santa Cruz? Where do you want to end up? Now that you know where you want to end up, you need to determine how much it's going to cost you. The total cost of a house that you can afford right now with these types of rates, even though things are going to change, because it's probably going to take you a year to get there. Now, why am I saying a year? I'm saying a year because if you clicked on this video or this live, whatever, you probably have negative items. I said that in the beginning, but I'm going to say it again. Why? Because otherwise you're probably just curious. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. You probably have negative items that you need to remove. You probably have a lower credit score even if you don't have negative items. Maybe you have student loans that are just dragging your scores down. Maybe you just have high utilization. It doesn't matter. You need to figure out what it's going to take for you to be able to fix that, to be able to go and afford that house that you just planned to have. Once you figure out how much you can actually afford with your current job, with the current prices of homes, now you need to go and start working on this, okay? Is it going to take you 60 days? No. One thing that absolutely infuriates me, like frustrates me, is when I get on a call with someone or someone comes to my office and they're like, hey, I have collections, charge-offs, student loans, I've got inquiries, and I need to get a mortgage in 60 days. Okay, well, you probably should have found me a year ago or more, because you're not getting that mortgage in 60 days. And you know what? Again, if I got to be the bad guy, I will be that bad guy, because someone else is going to tell you what you need to hear for you to open up your wallet or hit a couple of buttons for your online banking, and you are never going to see your money again. And I want for you to actually open your wallet and see money, okay? So what do we need to do? We first need to go and dispute and remove our personal information. It doesn't have to be totally, removed or whatever, but that's step number one. Step number one is always your personal information. Step number two is disputing and removing your negative items, your collections, your charge-offs, your repos, foreclosures, bankruptcy, student loans, yada, 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 okay? And as a side note, let's just go back to 3% versus 7%. What am I talking about? Well, pretty simple. All right. Let's go back a couple of years. A couple of years ago, let's say a year and a half ago, you could have gotten a pretty darn decent house at a 3% interest rate, and 3% would have been really great. 75% of people with mortgages actually have less than a 5% interest rate, which you should, because 5% is really high. But if you go out and you get a mortgage right now, you're probably looking at 6-7% for that same house, which means that you're going to be paying $700 per month more than you would have if you had gotten that same house when it was 3% or 4% or 5%, right? So what's the point here? The point here is that these numbers matter. If you look at, a $200,000 30-year conventional mortgage at a 4% interest rate, you are looking at $43,000 in interest. However, that same mortgage, that same house is going to cost you $86,000 in interest over that same 30 years if you have just a 1 point increase to a 5%, okay? So, but we're not talking about 1 point, we're talking about 4 points. 4 points, okay? So, yes, interest rates fluctuate. Maybe you'll get a good deal with, whoever, with your credit union or whatever, right? But the entire point here is, if you already know that the interest rates are through the roof and that you're going to be paying more anyways, when you go and you add negative items on top of it, even one late payment can be the difference between you putting your kids in college or having a nice retirement and, putting all that money into someone else's pocket, right? The bank or wherever the heck your interest goes. We don't really know. I mean, what do they do with our money? I don't know. So what's the point here? The point here, and yes, because we're allowed to go off on tangents, but you got to listen to me here. Again, I don't know if you're driving to work, if you just started your day. I appreciate you being here with me right now before, my clients come in and all that kind of stuff. But the entire point here is that you are already going to be paying way more money than people should be paying for the same things that they could have gotten like a year ago at like half the price. So why go into it when you know for a fact that you have at least one late payment? Talk about 2 or 3 or 4 or collections, charge-offs, medical. I mean, why? Why would you do that? Why are you going to let someone go and pull your credit report and see that you didn't pay Capital One on time for like a year straight? Why are you going to go and let a lender pull your credit report and see that you are okay with not being paid, paying someone on time their money that they said that they want to get from you? You agreed to pay or whatever. You don't want to do that. They are already going to be gunning for either not getting you a house, not getting you pre-approved, or getting you an interest rate that, you think that you're going to be able to pay. But I mean, $1,000 versus $3,000, we're talking about $2,000 extra just because you didn't go through these steps first, right? So do this. Don't think about how do I get a mortgage with bad credit. Think about how do I get a mortgage after I fix my bad credit. That is just my recommendation. I've been doing this for 12 years. I'm a homeowner myself. And, this is already a convoluted process. And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars that they don't need to be, it doesn't need to be that high just because you want to go into this unprepared because you are impatient. There was an interview, a couple of months ago, or maybe it was 2 months ago or whatever. I actually did a video about the housing market and recession and all that kind of stuff, where they said if you are currently renting and you don't think that you are going to be in the house that you want to get for at least 5 years, then you should continue renting. And if you are a homeowner, you will sell your house, but you're definitely not going to get what you would want out of it, or even like maybe even the fair market value. So if you are a homeowner, right now is a good time to keep on owning, and if you are a renter, right now is probably a good time to keep on renting until you see where the economy is going, and then make a decision about it. All right. So I'm not telling you to stay in a bad situation, but I am saying that you should probably really, really think things through, and that goes back to step number 1, which is making an action plan. All right. Sometimes people get into loans and they had all good intentions and they were going to, pay and all that kind of stuff. And then, here they come knocking at your door and telling you that you have 30 days to get out. So I don't want that to happen to you just because you go into this without making a plan, without knowing what you're doing, going into a, mortgage that you obviously won't be able to afford, and then, having to explain to your children or your spouse or whatever why you are losing that house. And just so you know, these lenders are way more likely to give you a house, right? A $500,000 house than they would a $5,000 credit card, or even a $2,000 credit card for that matter. Same thing with an auto loan. They'll give you a $70,000, scat pack, right? Than they would a $5,000 loan. So why is that? It's because they can go and swoop it right out from underneath you. They can go and they can repo it right out of your, garage, and not if your garage is open, I don't know. And let's just say driveway, right? So you got to keep these things in mind. So if you can't afford something, don't go into it. Same thing with signing up for anything. If you don't foresee that, certainly you're going to be able to afford XYZ, don't do it. Don't put yourself in a position that is literally just going to get worse because you know for a fact that you can't do it, you can't afford it, it's not going to work out, financially for yourself or your family or whatever. So, all right, step number 3. So Step number 1, personal information. Step number 2, remove your negative accounts. Step number 3, you need to add positive lines. Why are we talking about adding positive lines? We're talking about adding positive lines because most of the people who come to me, and just so you know, if you want to see if I can personally fix your credit and increase your credit score and get you to a mortgage, right? Get you to be this smiley person right here waving, and you don't want to do it yourself, or you don't know how to do it yourself, or you want to make sure you actually do it, right? Because we start things with good intentions and they just end up going into a pile, then you can use that link right there, my740.com. Obviously, you have to schedule a call. I will see if I can help, all right? Now, why are we talking about adding lines? We're talking about adding lines because most of the people who come to me only have negative items, or the majority of their credit report is all negative. So when you remove these negatives, you're probably going to be left with not that much. Now, there is a large percentage of people out there that only have a couple of negatives that they have to remove, and then they can go and get their mortgage. Great. That's awesome. Glad to hear it. But you may end up having what is called a thin file. And if that happens, you're not very likely to get approved for any amount. $30,000, boondock shed, let alone a house, okay? So when a mortgage lender goes and pulls your credit report, they want to see that it's fleshed out, that you have installment loans, or lines or whatever, whether they are open, whether they're closed. They want to see that you are good at paying something for, over the course of time, every single month on time, right? They also want to see vehicle loans. They want to see secured and unsecured loans and lines, like revolving lines like credit cards, even self-lender. Self-lender is a great one to have. You can have an installment loan, you can have a secured card, and you can have an unsecured card. That's 3 of them right there, okay? And there's 5 different types of credit. So you need to go out and figure out what it is that you're going to add to your credit report. After that, now you need to work on your credit score, okay? So yes, there are steps to it. So that's why I'm saying that it really makes me want to pull my hair out when people get on the phone with me and they're like, I have collections, charge-offs, repos, student loans, blah, 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 and I need a mortgage in 60 days. Dude, are you kidding me? Like, are you for real, or is this like a prank or something? You're not getting a mortgage in 60 days. Look at all the steps that you have to do. First, you have to fix your credit. Then you have to fix your score. Then you have to figure out what house it is that you want. You have to go out and get your pre-approval. Then you have to go out and, put in an offer on a house, get that offer accepted. Then you have to close on the house. And then now it's yours. We're talking about a 45 to 60 day process, depending on where you live and when you are doing this. In Vegas, it's only 30 days. In New York, it's about 60 days. So it really depends on where you live, right? But that alone is 45 to 60 days. And you're talking about, I need a mortgage in 60 days. No. What I recommend is that you go back to your drawing board and actually draw something on it, okay? And no, I'm not talking crap about anybody. I'm talking about something that is real that other people don't want to tell you about, because this is 2 totally different processes, right? Fixing your credit and going and getting a mortgage. So should you go out and get a mortgage if you have negative items on your credit report? No, you should not. Again, one of the very first things that I mentioned when I hit that live button is that we work so hard for our money, but we are the first ones to just give it away. Okay, and you need to stop doing that. You need to start guarding your money that you work so hard for. And that also goes for, buying anything or signing up for anything, right? Or for these people who are telling you that there's fast processes, because you're going to find out that on day 1, they're telling you that, oh my God, John, this is going to be so easy. You cannot believe how great your credit is going to look in 14 days, in 60 days, in 30 days, in 90 days. And just so you know, if they're giving you time frames like that, that is pretty gray area with the Credit Repair Organizations Act, just so you know, because you can't control time frames. And it's illegal to, promise or guarantee things that you can't control, right? But you need to be very wary about that, and you need to go and walk the other way. Because, and this is what we've been talking about a lot lately, especially with my new series that I've been running for the past 2 weeks, where there's a process. Yes, there is a process, but I'm Mrs. Bad Guy here, and I'm telling you that that does not exist. That doesn't exist. And that goes back to, I've been doing this for 12 years, right? Fixing consumer credit reports for 12 years, increasing credit scores for 12 years, removing negative items for 12 years, whatever you want to call it. I've got 9 years right here on YouTube. I even posted a video. If you go back and look through my videos, I even posted a video when I was giving birth, not literally while I was giving birth, obviously, but like after I had my son. He's 4 now, going on 5, but after I had my son, I was, in the hospital for a couple of days, right? And I even posted a video then so that people didn't think that I died, because I was posting like every single week, right? Now I post like, more often than that, but that is how long I have been here doing this, 9 years. So trust and believe that if there were a fast way, I would know about it. I'd be doing it. I'd be explaining it to you. Now, there are certain things that you can do to drastically increase the ability to remove your negative items and to get the credit score that you want, but the majority of people cannot afford it. So we don't even talk about those things because, unless you have, let's just say, $15,000 that you can just, liquidate to fix your credit, then, we should be talking about very realistic things like paying, maybe $1,000 to fix your credit versus the $15,000 that it would take to fix your credit in 30 days. Because don't you think that it would be worth that to go out and get the things that you want? Like, most people come to me because they want a mortgage, a car, and they want to do something for their business, right? So if I told you that I can go out and help you get, let's just say, $1 million, $500,000 house, let's say $250,000 for your business, 2 cars that equal $100,000. So these things add up, right? Don't you think that it would be worth $15,000 to you if I told you that this could all happen in 30 days? Obviously, yes, it would. Obviously, yes, it would. I would have to say that the trade 15,000 for $1 million, that anybody would do it if they had it, right? So again, stop believing these people when they wave these shiny objects at you and tell you that it's just so simple, because then everybody would have a house. Everybody would have a car. Everyone would have the car that they have always dreamed about. Everyone would have money in their wallet when they open it, or when they go onto their online banking, or they go to an ATM and type in their, little PIN number. There would be like a lot of zeros, not zeros as in, hey, you don't have money, but zeros as in, hey, how much money do you want to pull out? Maybe you should go to an ATM that, allows you to pull out more money because you have so much money, okay? So, let's get real here. Let's get real and talk about these things, okay? And again, if I have to be the person that tells you these things and you don't like me because of it, then hey, do you. Everyone has the right to their own opinion, and that's the same as I have the right to get on here on my channel and tell you what you need to know, all right? And it's just up to you to listen and implement what I say, or implement what I tell you not to do, So anyways, next, you need to increase your credit scores. That is a totally different process in itself. So then I said you get your pre-approval, and then you go out and get your house, right? So if you just look at step 4, 5, and 6, we're talking about a minimum of like 4 months, right? If you have a lower credit score, that is. Now, if you already have good credit, you already have the good score, then your process is only going to be 45 to 60 days, okay? If you have negative items on your credit report and you first need to fix that before you can go and get your house and be the smiley person right here, then now we're talking about at least 6 months. At least 6 months. What is she talking about? It's at least 6 months. Get real, okay? Today needs to be the day that you open up your eyes and your ears to the way that the world really is. People like us don't get things like this, right? Without working our asses off. You didn't work your ass off your entire life to get whatever age you are right now, and they're just like, hey, here, you can have this, right? Here, you can have that. Here, have $10,000. No. And guess what? The only place that you find these things is right here on YouTube. Go figure, right? You don't do a Google search and actually land on something that's legit, where, they actually deliver on what it is that they're saying. And it happens in, like, what, 90 days? 30 days? 60 days? No. No. And if you continue doing this and going around in these circles or going from shortcut to shortcut to shortcut, you're going to end up boxing yourself in, and you're going to be 5 steps behind just because you didn't do the things that you were supposed to the way that you were supposed to. And you are not going to get to this house. You're not going to get those cars. You're not going to get your kids in better schools. You're not going to have money when you open up your wallet or you check your online banking. And the only person you are going to have to blame is yourself for believing in these people when they tell you these lies, right? Especially when you have someone right here proving to you that this is a process and it takes time. Yes, you can get here. I'm not telling you that your end goal is not realistic. I'm just telling you that the way that you get there, such as clicking on this video about how to get a mortgage with bad credit, right? The way that you're going to get there is, that's the part that's unrealistic. All right. So what do? How do you even bother with step 1? How do you get started? What is it that you were supposed to do now that I've gone and busted your bubble and shredded your, whatever? Well, it's actually really, really simple. And again, I've been literally explaining exactly step by step how to get where you need to be in a shorter period of time than you would if you did not use this process. And all you have to do is listen to me. And guess what? The links are down in the description. That is what a description box is there for most of the time. And that is what I utilize it for. I give a description of whatever I'm going to talk about, and I give some helpful links, like the link to schedule a call with me if you want to see if I can help you get to this house, right? Or to whatever your goal is. Or even if it's just, hey, I have no money and I need to figure out how to get these negative items off. You know what? Post a comment. Obviously, I turn my messages, my comments, that's what they're called. I turn my comments off when I am live, but go to any of my other videos and post a comment and I will answer it, okay? So this is what you're going to do. Number 1, make an action plan. Number 2, go and dispute your personal information. Number 3, go and dispute and remove your negative items. Number 4, you are going to add positive lines. Number 5, you're going to increase your credit score. And then number 6, you're going to go out and get whatever that goal is, whether that be a mortgage or a vehicle or whatever, okay? The longest part of this entire process is obviously going to be steps 1 and 2, removing personal information and removing your negative items, okay? Your scores and the other part, of rebuilding, all of that happens afterward, all right? And that's the same reason why you probably don't need to be signing up with MyFICO right now. People call me and they're like, oh, I have all these negative items and I also sign up for MyFICO. You don't need MyFICO right now. You don't need it. You're wasting $40 a month, okay? If you want to fix your credit, you should only be looking at 2 sites. Identity IQ, if you can only afford like $22, and Smart Credit. Smart Credit is my number 1 site. And of course, the links are down in the description. Yes, they are my affiliate links, okay? Caveat. So, the one I recommend is Smart Credit. Gives much more information as far as payment history goes. Identity IQ only goes back 24 months. And obviously, it's a no-brainer to have more information than less when it comes to disputing and removing your personal information and your negative items. Now, how do you go about that part? Because obviously, it is the most difficult part of this to be able to go and get whatever your goal is, whether that be mortgage or whatever. Well, first of all, if there were any videos that I would recommend watching out of my 1,200 videos going back 9 years, right, it would be the ones that are within the last 2 weeks. Why? Why? Because I've been giving you my secrets. I've been telling you how to remove your negative items from your credit report. And I break it down in a very simple and easy to understand manner. And if you don't understand the way that I explain it, then I also have things that you can go out and buy that actually spell it out so that you can, do this step by step by step. And just so you know, there's a link down in the description right now in the first paragraph that you only have a couple hours left. I can't tell you how many hours because we are streaming on my phone, so I can't check my phone and tell you. But if you want to access 180 pages of dispute letters that cover literally every single thing that you could possibly imagine to dispute with the bureaus, the creditors, and the collectors, as well as 290 dispute reasons that cover collections, charge-offs, repossessions, inquiries, bankruptcy, identity theft, you name it, it's on there, as well as my collection tactics playbook and my credit sweep secrets. God, that's such a mouthful, right? Playbook. Then that's 4 different things. You can get it all for less than the cost of just the dispute letters. So you have the option to get it at $197 or $147. Right now, you only have a couple hours left. You'd have to go there and check it out to find out how many hours. But the link is down in the description. It is sendme2.co/197. All right. So why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this because I put these things together because of the things that you guys tell me that you need, that you want, that you're having issues with. The same reason that I created this live stream, because there's so many people who are asking and coming to me about needing to get mortgages, right? So is there any instance where I would recommend going out and attempting to get a mortgage while you have negative items in your credit report? No. Nope. I can't even think of one. Because I personally wouldn't want to be wrapped into a 30-year conventional mortgage, or even if it's not conventional, 30 years or even 5 years at 7% or 9% or even 5% if I didn't have to. I would rather continue to pay my rent, right? I'd rather personally continue to pay my rent because I know exactly how much it's going to be. I know how long that I can afford it. I know that I can give 30 days and, break it or whatever. Then to get into something like this, then I know eventually I'm going to have to refinance because I got into it at a time when I shouldn't have. And it was just because I was rushing. I was impatient. Maybe I thought that was the thing that I was supposed to do. Okay. If you want to pay 7%, then you've got to be the stupidest millionaire out there, right? Because I don't know about you, but people who have money because they don't go out and do stupid things like pay 7% when they could be paying 3 or 4 for that matter, right? So keep these things in mind. There's really not a situation where you should be paying more than than you could be, I guess you could say it like that. So anyways, we've been doing this for 32 minutes. I think that is going to be it today, maybe. But anyways, if you want to figure out exactly how to remove your negative items and you want to permanently remove them so you can go out and get this mortgage at a 3% interest rate instead of a 7% interest rate, or you want to permanently remove your negative items the right way without identity theft, without online disputes, without using the dispute letter templates that the bureaus receive 1.5 million times per month, and to just be rejected over and over and over again, then use that link down in the description to go check out that deal. All right. So what do you do if you don't want to be doing, playbooks, and you don't want to deal with the credit sweep secrets, and you don't want to deal with disputing your collections, and you don't know even how to go about disputing your personal information, which should always be done before you get to your negative items? Then hello, link's been there the entire time. Okay. People can say whatever they want about me because the truth is men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. And I even proved it to you yesterday when I posted my proof about a client who signed up back in November, and we pulled the report yesterday, and guess what? 245 points increase, right? I literally got this client 245 points in between their round 1 disputes, which actually went out the 1st of December and yesterday. All right, that was one bureau. The other bureau, because the third bureau had no score, the other bureau was 227 points. So does this work? Yes. Am I saying that I'm going to get you 200 points? No. But you know what? Not only did I prove to you how it worked, but I even showed you the steps to doing it, right? So I don't just flash things in your face and say, hey, you know what, this exists and the only way to do this is to get me to do it for you. No, I show you that it works, I give you the options, I give you free information, and it's up to you what you want to do. So if you actually want to get results and you want to remove your negative items and you want to join the real world of, hey, these things can happen, but they take time, then go use that link right there, my740.com. If, however, you are cool with doing the do-it-yourself stuff and you think that you can hang with this, then, and don't let this go over your head, but link is down in the description. You can have all these things that I just mentioned, 180 pages of dispute letters, 290 dispute reasons, and the credit sweep secrets playbook, and the collections playbook by using that link, sendme2.co/197. You only have a couple hours left. Again, because I'm streaming on my phone, I have no idea how many hours, but when I posted a video last night, it was 20 hours left. So you got a few, maybe. But otherwise, again, 1,200 videos. Go find the one that fits what you're trying to do. I have playlists. I put hundreds of hours, hundreds, if not, I don't know, maybe thousands. I don't know. I probably have to still say hundreds of hours into coming up with content that is going to help you to get where you need to be, which just so happens to be what? A house, right? Or a vehicle, or maybe living in the right neighborhood, and whatever. I give you all of this stuff, but it is up to you as to what you want to do. It is up to you to implement it. It is up to you what type of rate you're going to get on your mortgage. So with that being the big thing that is resting in your hands, I hope you make the right decision. All right. All of this information is here for you to utilize and implement to remove your negative items, increase your credit score, and I know that you can do it. Just make sure that you do it the right way. The next time that someone tells you that this is just so simple, then hey, get the proof. Get the proof. Get the proof. If someone can prove something, then great. Because I've been proving for 9 years here on YouTube, right? 9 years here on YouTube that there is a way to do it, but you got to do it the right way. All right, so that's enough. Almost 40 minutes. I normally do not go live for that long, but I'm going to hit this X right here. We are going to end this. I will see you later, and that is it. Again, my740.com if you want to see if I can personally increase your credit score, remove your negative items, and help you to get that 3% interest rate instead of that 7. All right, so adios.